great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of disease. Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 837. Can you believe it? Of the Immigration Answer Show. I'll be here for the next hour. Today is the 24th of May. May's almost over. Can you believe that too? That's pretty crazy. It seems like we've just been getting going. I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you have a nice long. Caro's with her mom watching. Well, hello, Caro. Good morning. And Nurse Laura's watching from her comfy bed. Well, you gotta love that. That's what you have to do when it's 7:58 in Palm Beach. All right. So I will be in California this week, as a matter of fact. We are co-sponsoring a little yacht trip out to the Coronado Island for a bunch of international student advisors who will be in San Diego for their annual conference. So I will be traveling this week, but not for a case. So that's nice. I don't handle that many cases anymore. I don't go to that many interviews. I've had 4 in the last 2 weeks. So that's all outside of St. Louis. So that's pretty crazy. Does anybody have good Memorial Day plans? Of course, if Donna were here, she'd be planning something. I hope everybody's planning some barbecue or something fun. We'll be doing a lot of softball. Dammy's also watching in bed. It's good to see everybody. I missed being in the office. I missed being in the studio. So I'm glad to be able to be on TikTok and on YouTube. I shot some videos today. Let's see, what were they about? One was about all the forms that you file when you do a 485. One was, I need to do one on Christy Noem not knowing what habeas corpus is. Did you guys see that? The director of Homeland Security does not know what habeas corpus was. She thought it was some right that the president had. And this is a terrible person. This person has no business running the Department of Homeland Security. She doesn't even know what habeas corpus is, which is the right to challenge an unlawful detention. So of course she doesn't know it. And she's making decisions without knowing the rights of citizens to challenge their detentions, their wrongful detention. So the idea that this person is planning and scheduling or overseeing the immigration process is downright scary. I will find the clip and play it for you. But the one video that I wanted to focus on I wanted to talk to you guys about. This is a case involving a fellow named Casper Eriksson. Casper Eriksson is from Denmark. Now, we don't get many Danes on the show, but we did have one of my all-time favorite clients is Danish. He's a Danish American, a naturalized citizen. Michael, he's a great guy. I used to see him all the time, but now I don't see him so much. Anyway, old Casper came to the United States back in around 2010 on a J1 visa, and he studied welding, and then he went back home to Denmark. Maybe he had the 2-year requirement, I'm not sure, but he went back to Denmark and worked. But while he was here in the United States, he fell in love with a U.S. citizen. Her name is Savannah. And in 2013, old Casper got a job back in Mississippi where they had been living. He got a new welding job. So he moved back to the United States. And eventually Casper and Savannah got married. And they had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 girls. Can you imagine? 4 girls. Oh my gosh. And Casper's wife, Savannah, is actually pregnant with their 5th child. And so Casper's been here in the United States. He filed for a green card based on marriage. And that was approved. He received a conditional green card. And I guess they did that without an attorney, or at least they filed for citizenship without an attorney because they made a mistake. Does anybody know when you get a conditional green card, what you have to do before you apply for citizenship? What's the one requirement that we talk about on the show all the time? Many people who watch this show, and I wish Casper had watched this show. But does anybody know in the comments? Let me know. Oh, I got to turn on the... Let me know what you guys think about this new feature that they're beta testing on StreamYard. go ahead and put in the comments what you have to do if you get a conditional green card before you can apply for citizenship under the 3-year rule. I know many of you know the answer. I'm just going to sit here and wait. 751. Carol knows for sure. Robert knows. Remove the conditions. Maggie knows. Everybody knows. You have to file for removal of conditions. Now, around the time that 751 was due, in their defense, Savannah had some kind of a stillborn baby or a miscarriage. So, of course, that's very, very sad, very, very tragic, very hard thing to deal with. And, of course, it's a very good reason for not filing your 751 on time. You know, you missed the deadline. Maybe you don't know the deadline, all that stuff. That's the deal. Well, they didn't file the 751, so he's never had his conditions removed. Well, about a week and a half ago, Savannah and Casper show up at his naturalization interview. So they went ahead and applied for citizenship. And they showed up at the field office for their citizenship interview. Guess what? The N-400 was denied. But not only was the N-400 denied, ICE was there. So USCIS called up ICE and said, hey, this poor bastard from Denmark never filed his I-751. So you need to put him in removal proceedings. And apparently, he may or may not have been ordered removed in absentia for not filing the 751. I've actually never heard of that, so I don't know if that's true. But old Casper got taken into Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody. Not only that, you've heard about how they've been taking these international students and getting them out of their home jurisdictions into Louisiana, where they have very pro-deportation judges in Louisiana. And they shipped him off to Louisiana. Now, one thing you might not know that I haven't mentioned yet is Savannah considers herself a trad wife, and she was homeschooling the girls, and Casper is the only source of income for this family, but now he's being detained. And not only did they consider themselves in a traditional family situation, they also had a lot of "Let's Go Brandon" posts on social media. They also had a lot of anti-immigrant posts on their social media pages, a lot of anti-vax stuff. And, you know, some people are sort of using that as, I don't really get into this game of not feeling sorry for people that voted for Trump. I get it. I understand the frustration, and I understand sort of like heaping it on them when they're down. I get that conceptually. I try to be a better person than that. And sometimes I do take a little bit of, have you guys heard the word Schadenfreude? It's sort of like just desserts. It's sort of like you get what's karma. Yes, thanks, MDDS. Exactly, a little karma. So putting that to the side, I can compartmentalize. Like if I were called in, I would want to help these people. I still would want to help these people. I still feel bad for these people. Even if Savannah voted for Trump, I still feel bad for her and for them and for what they're going through. But the absurdity of the whole thing is most likely 99% chance this guy's not getting deported. Most likely he's not getting deported. It'd be very, very unusual for him to get deported. There's a path to get an untimely 751 approved. There's a path to do it in deportation court. There's a path to getting him out of jail. He's being detained. All that stuff is possible. He most certainly will not be deported. I'd be shocked if he got deported. And of course, the other big lesson is that he shouldn't have applied for citizenship before talking to a lawyer. Right? Everybody thinks, well, I'm white and I'm from Europe and nobody's going to mess with me. I know what I'm doing. I read on the internet. Google told me what to do next. The next thing to do is to file for N-400. You know, like Chris Farley used to do that thing. Yeah, so they totally screwed the pooch because, yeah, it's a total waste of taxpayers' money. Caro is right. And as she says in the comments, she herself has done late 751s. It's not a very high standard. You basically have to say, oops, sorry. It's a little bit more than that, but certainly a miscarriage or a stillborn baby would be a good reason for not filing a 751 on time. So all of that being said, I'm just pretending for the purposes of the show that Casper or Savannah had called in. Those are the kinds of things that I'd be thinking about. Those are the kinds of things that I would want to fix. And yes, we can feel compassion for them, and also understand how absurd ICE's actions are in this case. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that USCIS called ICE and said, "Come arrest these people." I mean, this is Kristi Noem. This is Donald Trump. This is all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I told our team, people love to tell us, "Oh, I'm going to do it myself." Well, send them this article. Send them Savannah's story. What do you think Savannah's wishing now? I bet Savannah's wishing, well, first of all, Savannah has an immigration attorney for Casper now, and that's a hell of a lot more expensive than it would have been to file a 751 on time. It's a hell of a lot more expensive to try to get him out on bond, try to keep him from getting deported. And of course, the sword of Damocles is hanging over his head. They're just thinking they might get deported. Terrible, huh? It's a terrible, terrible situation. Let me know what you guys think about the comments over on the sideline. My eyes are too old to be able to read them very carefully, but I bet on YouTube it looks pretty good because I don't have, let me see what it looks like when I do the whole screen. Let's see. No, that's not it. How do I do that? Oh, here we go. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. You can read it. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and start taking some calls, and maybe we'll take some comments from TikTok too. It's harder for me to do TikTok on the weekend because Hina's not here, or at least for this call, she's not. Let's go for the love of mom. Hello.
Hi, Jim.
How are you doing?
I thank you for picking up my call. And so you just mentioned about this, deportation, detainment. Actually, that's the case of that I am facing right now. I am a U.S. citizen. I came here. Anyway, my mom. It's for my mom. I did sponsored my mom green card 5 years ago, and I called you this January early this year because I was like, hesitant to apply for N-400 for her because she went to the Philippines and I thought that she overstayed there because of COVID. But then you actually recommended that I would um apply, and I did that, and I have a receipt March 7 that they accept the application. Now the original plan is my mom is 74 years old. She really loved to travel with me now. She's like my dad died and they used to travel, but only in the Philippines. So now that she's here in US, and that she actually came here with a tourist visa and she overstayed. Then I came over here, worked, got my green card and then my naturalization quickly. And then uh, I
You got,
I got my passport right away and then I applied for my mom green card right
yep,
away.
yep.
So now I want to take my mom then because she's been expressing like, she wants to travel. And then I said, okay, I'm traveling this August. I'm going to Europe. I'll take you with me, and then I'll just have to get you a visa, a Schengen visa. And then I said, oh, it's just easy. I just have to make the itinerary. And then I did paid for all the accommodation, her airfare, and she's coming with me, thinking that I'm just going to do the visa. But then ICE came in and I said, oh my gosh. So my mom is like, oh, I don't want to get detained or deport. And I said, well, I don't want either. So I did not really apply the visa yet because I'm hesitant, but everything is all set up already. Now I look back, oh, wait, good thing I did apply for the N-400. So maybe that there's a chance for the N-400 before August. And then I was like, they might, have a case decision past August or oath taken past August, and she's not going to be able to get a U.S. passport. So, but then again, yesterday, my coworker was like, "Oh, they're not. You should not be scared of your green card because they won't detain you anymore, or deport you anymore if you don't have a criminal record." Well, my mom does not have criminal record. She just have the citation, and I told my mom that's not. I don't think that's criminal record. She get into the bus. She doesn't drive, so she get into the bus, and she's 74 years old. She said, I knew I have something in my like a Metro card because I'm from New York. It's like she said she explained it to me. She get into the bus. She tapped her card. The bus driver didn't say anything, but next thing you knew, the police officer came into the bus and pulled like two or three people out of the bus and asked them questions, and they found out that she did not pay. And I said, Mom, how could that happen? Just I'm sure there is something in my card, but when they tap it again, it says it's empty and I did not pay. So she got a citation for that. I don't know what you call that, but I told my mom that's not, and
I'm not worried about that.
that's
I'm not
not
worried about that. Tell me about the trip that she had that you were worried about was too long.
because she went there to the Philippines when it was COVID. She was locked down there. She's a
How long?
um
How long was the trip?
uh uh 4 to 5 months.
So under 6 months.
And yeah, but she went back to the Philippines last year, and I told her without telling me, and it's okay. But then I told her how long you were there, but then she's like more than a month. So I was worried. January, I called you because I was worried because to sum it all, it's more than 6 months. But then
Yeah, consecutive.
I
So
misunderstood.
we're not worried
Mhm.
about that. So
Okay,
so if your mom was in the United States before you came and before you got your green card, that means that she was here for a long time out of status, right?
correct. That's what I'm worried about. She might get detained just because she have
I
a
don't care. I don't care so much about these trips that she's had to the Philippines. I have much more concern about the fact that she was here without status for a really long time. The citations don't matter. The whole thing is that she was out of status for a really long time, even though she got her green card. If I were her daughter, there's no way in hell I'd let her leave until she gets her citizenship. And somebody said in the comments the other day, Jim is conservative on travel, and I actually sort of like that as a synopsis. I am conservative on travel, and so for this, I would definitely say, if I'm you, I would say, Mom, look, we've got everything teed up. You're getting ready for your citizenship interview. I would, with Mom having such a long immigration history in the United States, I would do a FOIA for her immigration case if you haven't done that already to get her whole file. But I would not leave the United States until she becomes a citizen.
Oh, okay. So her, you mentioned this yesterday that if you, if oh no, I'm sorry. I think I mixed up because I look at your TikTok too, and then I think I saw somewhere that you said that if whatever months, looking at the website of USCIS, the processing time, it's not really accurate because my mom now, so her receipt is March 7th.
Yeah,
Now
so
she's like,
by the end of the year.
oh, so it's not accurate. They said 2 months for her case decision.
It could be. I mean, but she's going to have an interview, and you're talking about New York, right? So New York's busy.
She's in LA.
Yeah, also busy. So it's probably going to be about a year for her to get her citizenship. Maybe quicker. Some people get quicker, but she has a long history out of status, so probably not. Thanks so much for the call.
Thank you.
See ya. All right, let's go to Ivana. Hello, Ivana. Ivana, you're on mute. I'm going to go to MG and then Saul next. Ivana, are you there? You're on mute. Try to be ready, guys, when I come and call on you so that I don't so that we don't waste time because we only have an hour. MG, hello.
Hi, Jim. Good afternoon or morning for you.
Morning to you.
Hi. Okay, so basically, I'm from the UK. I live in London, and my husband. We were married 2 months ago. We've been together for about a year. He's a US citizen, lives in Pennsylvania, and I also have 2 children. So they're 11 and 15, and we're wondering, so he's going to file an I-130 for each of us, and we're just wondering, what is the quickest route to get me over there? Can we just, once we've submitted that form, can we then file, is it called the I-485, so that we can move over? Or is it just, we just have to wait? We're just not sure what the next step is after we file.
Okay, so one of the concepts you have to understand when it comes to immigration is there are non-immigrant visas and immigrant visas. There's non-immigrant intent and there's immigrant intent. So once you marry a U.S. citizen and file an I-130, you've done what's called demonstrated immigrant intent. So
Okay.
what that means is, I mean, you can come to the United States on visa waiver program, and your kids can too if you have British passports.
Is that
But
Esther?
that's ESTA, yeah. And so if you come to the United States through ESTA with the intention of adjusting your status in the United States, then you're going to have a big problem, because
Yeah.
they're going to say that you misabused or abused your visa waiver or your ESTA, and that you came on a non-immigrant visa with immigrant intent, and then you're gonna open up a big can of worms. You're gonna have to file a waiver and show that you didn't misrepresent yourself. So if Customs and Border Protection might not let you in, that's one problem. And the other problem is if you come and apply for a green card, then you have they could say that you misrepresented your way into the United States. So let me contrast that with another scenario. If somebody's married to a U.S. citizen and they come to the and they bring their kids to come look around and see things, and maybe go back to London and then later on come back again on another visit. If during that visit at the end they decide to get married, that's a different thing. But demonstrating immigrant intent causes huge problems down the line.
Right. Okay. So we're already married. Well, we got married in America.
Yep.
That was just a quick wedding, and we plan on having a big wedding with both our families over here in London in July. So I should stay here and he should file the 3 I-130s, and then we wait.
I pretty much think so, and that's going to be like a 2-year wait.
Oh wow! So we wouldn't be able to move at all for about 2 years.
Right. Unless you kept coming to visit and were completely honest, and then one time that you were actually here, that you decided later on that trip to file. But if you came bringing all your earthly possessions on ESTA, that would be a big, big problem.
Okay, I see. Okay. Okay, I guess that's it really. So that is pretty much the quickest route, right? So sorry. So if we file the I-130 and that takes a few years, can we then file? We can't file an I-485 until the I-130 is approved.
That's not true.
Oh,
let's walk it through. Let's say, so when you came last time, like roughly when did you enter and when did you get married?
The last time I was there was March, and that's when we got married. So we got married like the day after I arrived. But I've been back and forth. So we've been together over a year now. We've both traveled back and forth to see each other, and then we were just recently married in March.
Okay. So if instead of getting married the day after you arrived, if you had waited 60 days, you could have stayed here the whole time and done it, as long as that wasn't your plan, as long as that's something you decided during that trip. It's all about your intent at the time that you enter.
Right.
So generally you're supposed to wait 60 days to get married upon arrival. But now that you didn't do that, you almost have to do the consular processing.
Oh, I see. So because we knew we were going to have this church wedding in the UK, and there's just different rules for getting married over here. He would have had to come over here like twice or something, once to declare that he's going to get married, and then to come back to get married over here in London. So that's why we just did it in America.
But see, I'm the immigration lawyer. I'm not the church requirement lawyer. I don't care about any of that stuff. From an immigration standpoint, that just messes up your plans and everything. But I understand. Right. So I think you're sort of stuck with this route, pretty much.
Okay. All right then. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Em. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see what TikTok has to say. What's the number I call? Well, Dennis, you don't call. You have to go on YouTube. You have to find the Immigration Answer Show, and then you have to get in the waiting room. If you want to get a text when we go live each day, text the word show to 314-470-3300. How about that? Robert is about to fly back from Sacramento. Good, safe trip to you, Robert. And Laura's wondering what TV everyone's watching. I just finished Andor, and I give it a 10. I loved it. It was great. All right. So if you want to ask us a question, I can put the link in the waiting room. I don't take requests, so it doesn't do any good to ask me in the comments to get called up. It's all just based on order. I'll try Ivana one more time. Ivana, are you there? You're still on mute. Probably taking a nap. All right. We'll open up that spot in the waiting room, and we'll go to Saul. Hello, Saul.
Hi, Jim.
How are you?
I have a quick question. Good, thank you. I have quick questions. One, I'm applying for naturalization based on asylum. I have a question in the address section. Since the 5 years, I have been in 4 locations. In 3 of them, I filed the change address. In the one I thought like I did, but when I searched my email, I couldn't find. So I guess I missed it. So one thing is like, is this a big problem? Like, I mean, I have changed to that address for 8 months. After that, I changed 2 addresses. Of those addresses, I filed the change address. So like, would they say like, why you missed this one? If they say like, how do I correct it?
So when did you get your asylum?
In 2019,
And when did you get your green card?
2020,
And so now you're getting ready to apply.
2021. Sorry, 2021.
Now you're getting ready to apply for citizenship,
Yes.
and you're worried about on prior application you didn't list every address. Is that what you're saying?
No, in the prior address, everything was fine. The past, after I get my green card, I
Yeah.
changed after my asylum. Like I changed 4 addresses due to my work. In
Right.
3 of them, like I filed it. I can see in my email like the change address confirmation. But in one, I couldn't find it. So I assume maybe I missed it. So that's my worry.
You're saying you don't know one of your addresses?
No, you have to file after 10 days the change
Oh.
address on the.
Oh yeah, no, that's all fine. No one's gonna care about that.
Okay, because like I heard like in one guy in TikTok, sorry, in Instagram or something posted like, if somebody change address didn't fill it, they get you trouble right now. So I kind of scared like, oh,
So that's that. They were probably talking about this new alien registry requirement. That's something that carries fines with it. But as someone who had asylum and green cards, those rules don't apply to you. So just do. I mean, everyone should file their AR-11 within 10 days of moving. But nobody. I've never been to a naturalization interview where they asked about that, so I wouldn't worry about that.
okay. And another was like regarding the citation and everything, like, did you need to report, because it said like citation by law enforcement, if it is like camera citation, like the speed camera,
I don't.
do you need to mention it?
I don't do camera tickets. I think they're illegal. 2, I think they attach to the vehicle, not to the individual.
So you don't have to mention them?
I don't.
Okay. Because they say law enforcement, I thought like, is citation law enforcement with a camera? It's confusing.
No.
Okay. Thank you. That's my questions. Thank you.
All right. Bye, Sal. See ya. I see everyone's talking about television. I watched the first season of Last of Us. I haven't watched the second season. I will now that I finished Andor. Dammy's watching This Is Us, which I think is so great. So Dammy, I don't know if you remember that uncle. That was Griffin Dunn, the uncle who lived in the trailer who went to Vietnam with Jack. He has a new biography out that I really, really liked. I just listened to it, and it was great. Also, yeah, people are saying Your Friends and Neighbors is good. That's supposed to be good. Of course, Laura, the other thing is we have like 3 episodes left of The Pit, which I love, and it's very, very hard to watch. It's a very sad show, but I like it. I'm going to go to The Visionary, and then after that, I'll go to Ahmed if Ahmed turns off his camera. Hello, The Visionary. Hello, The Visionary. Another show that somebody mentioned was Forever on Netflix. That's supposed to be great. It's got Wood Harris in it. He's supposed to be really good in it. So, Visionary, are you there? If you guys aren't ready, I'm kicking you out of the studio. Ahmed, turn off your camera. I'm going to go to So Happy to Be Here, and then once Ahmed gets his camera off, I'll go to him. So Happy to Be Here. Hello.
Hello, Jim. How are you?
Great.
Great. Thank you. I'm calling for a friend, and I'll try to make this brief, okay?
Sure.
So my friend came on an F1 visa in 2017. A few months in, she filed for asylum. Went to school for about a year and a half or so. Then she went to work and met her now husband there. They dated for a few years, had some kids, and then married later in 2024 and filed the I-130. That got approved, but just the husband's children, they listed their kids, but they messed up and didn't put his her stepkids, his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So is that going to be an issue? Do they need to do an errata sheet for that?
I would. I mean, I like to mention everybody. There's no downside to mentioning everybody. So I would say that's something that can be corrected at the interview. And yeah, just the errata sheet. Yep.
Okay, great. And
Oh,
then
wait,
so
did they already have their interview?
they're having the 485 a couple weeks from now, I think.
Has the I-130 been approved?
Yes.
That's interesting. But they're still having an interview. So
Yep.
The person, what kind of visa did they have when they entered?
F1, and then filed for asylum 3 months after.
Is there anything in the asylum case that they're worried about?
Just that they didn't realize that the stepkid should have been put in there.
Well, I'm talking about the asylum case. Is there anything in the asylum case that they're worried about?
I don't think so. They didn't mention it.
Just sometimes people make shit up or add stuff or embellish. So don't tell them to make sure, because the asylum case is fair game. It might come up at the interview. So they have to be ready for that.
Yeah, I think they're prepared. So does she have to take in her termination of I-20, the was it the fees for that?
Say that again. Does she have to bring what? Her I-20s?
The termination, because she went for a year and then after that she was working. So then she had the pending asylum already. So does that put her out of status? Before.
Wait,
do you understand?
Who terminated? You mean terminating her CVIS record or terminating her asylum case?
No, the CVIS record for school.
Yeah, the asylum case, it doesn't matter because she's married to a U.S. citizen, but these are all the things that are making it's unusual that they would approve an I-130 and then schedule an interview for 45. Frankly, I don't know that I've ever heard of that. That's pretty unusual. So the reason they're having the 45 interview, obviously they've already considered the marriage and think that it's real. So there's something in the case that makes USCIS unsure that this person is admissible. So they might want to talk about the asylum case. They might want to talk about whether they had a real intention of going to school or if they were just coming here to apply for asylum. That would be forgiven under the asylum case, but under the marriage case, it could be problematic. So these people probably need some representation at the interview, I would think.
Yeah, I think they had some mistakes on the 485.
Yeah.
And then also my friend, the immigrant, intending immigrant, is working. He's no longer working. He's taking care of the kids because she was making more money. Mm-hmm. And so they need a joint sponsor. Now his adult child is willing to be the joint sponsor. Does the joint sponsor have to attend the interview?
No.
No, okay.
But you just keep throwing out more and more facts that make me more and more concerned. Okay. Like you just threw out the beneficiary has a U.S. citizen child in the United States. Like that.
No, the petitioner.
The petitioner. Okay.
Yeah, those are the kids they forgot to list. They listed their kids they had together, their joint kids, but not the husband's kids.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
See you. Bye. Laura said how many shows are having season 2s. Amar and I were talking in the office. She's my other Andor fan in the office, and we were talking about how so many shows sort of jumped the shark after about season 2. So we're glad that Andor ended when it did, even though we would have enjoyed more seasons. So many shows have just gone downhill after that second season. Let's go to Ahmed. Hello.
Hey, James. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing good today.
Yeah, I am. Thanks.
Yeah. Jim, I applied for adjustments of status, the married base, this past December. So my interview was scheduled for last month.
That was fast.
Which happened to be April 25.
Okay.
So I attended the interview, me and my wife. But since then, they told me that they will get back to me. Let me look forward to the mail. But I haven't heard from them since then.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a month now.
All right, so let's do it. So when did you come to the United States?
I came in July of 2023.
What kind of a visa did you have?
The B1, B2.
And what country did you come from?
Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Yep. And so, what was the purpose of your visit?
It's actually a tourist visa. I used to come and go back.
Right, but what was the purpose of the visit? Why did you go to the embassy and ask for a visa?
It's a tourist visa and a family.
I know what kind of a visa it was. You keep telling me that. What I want to know is, why did you want to come to the United States? They said, Ahmed, you want a visit visa to the United States. What do you want to do when you get there? What was the purpose? Why did you get the visa? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Okay, it's a visit and want do business and go back.
Visit who? Business with who?
Actually, I told them that I will be buying cars and go back.
Okay, and did you do that?
Yes, sir.
You bought cars?
For the first time and go back. For the second time and bought cars, visits and go back.
So it'd be fair to say that the reasons that you gave to the embassy for giving you the student visa were the same reasons why it got approved. Like, you didn't misrepresent anything. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you went to the embassy in Sierra Leone to get a visa, were you married?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then were you still living together? And was the marriage okay when you got the visit visa?
No, I lost my partner. That's why I decided to move now to come and stay here.
You mean they passed away?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm very sorry, Ahmed.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. So you have a divorce decree. You have a death certificate. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how much? How long after? Okay. So when did you enter? Okay. Let me back up. When did you marry the person that you're married to now?
Yes, sir. We married in the September of 2023.
Okay. And before September?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, sir.
September 23?
2024.
24. Okay. So before September 24, when you got married, when was your most recent arrival in the United States?
July 2023. So I went out of status.
Okay. And how did you meet this person?
We met on a birthday party.
Okay. And are they of Sierra Leone descent, or are they American, or what's their story?
Yeah, she's American.
Okay. Has she ever been to Sierra Leone or know anybody there or anything like that?
No, she's a Black American. Yeah.
You didn't know her? You didn't know them before you came to America?
No.
And when you met them, were you in status or out of status?
When I met her, I was in status. But before we get married, I was out of status.
Right. And have they ever been involved in any kind of immigration case before?
No, sir.
Okay. And this is only your second marriage, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is your spouse's first marriage.
First married, exactly.
Okay. And so you got married in September, and did you say you filed in December?
December. The lawyer filing in December, yeah.
Okay. And have you heard anything back yet? Did you got fingerprinted or what?
I've got fingerprinted. I got my work permits.
Oh, you had your interview. Yeah, you said you had your interview.
Last month, yes.
How did that go?
The interview was not 100%, but out of 100, the lawyer told us we are like 80 to 90%.
Wait, so you had a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
And they separated you? The USCIS separated you at the interview?
Yes, sir. But the lawyer was there.
Yeah, the lawyer was with you both times.
Yes, sir.
I like the way you framed it, that you got about 80% of the things matched and 20% didn't. So were the 20% things that you would say were important, or were they things that sort of weren't important?
Well, I cannot assess, but it's just about family,
Like you knowing their family and them knowing your family?
Yeah, they asked me about, let me just give you like 2 or 3 examples. They asked me
sure.
about the car she used to drive before the present one she's driving now. And I told the USCIS officer that she used to drive a GMC, but she bought the GMC in 2023. But when she gets in and they asked her about the GMC, She told the USCIS that she bought the GMC in 2024. So that was a mismatch.
That's not a big deal.
Yes, sir. And the second one was she have 2 kids. The first one is not taking lunch to school. The last one is taking lunch to school. So they asked me if the both kids are taking lunch to school. I say yes. So I forgot to separate that. The last one was taking lunch to school. So that was the 2 important mistake I think we made on the interview.
And which field office was this?
Is Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. And how long did they talk to your spouse and how long did they talk to you?
Well, they talked to me around about 20 to 30 minutes. And after they're done with me, they give me a paper. And the paper said they're going to get back to me.
Yeah.
Let me look forward to the mail.
So you went first or your spouse went first?
No, I went first. And they give me the paper before even my spouse went in.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's because then they didn't bring you back in after your spouse went?
Maybe, yeah. But they gave me before she even went in.
Yeah, I understand. Tell me about your living situation.
We live together. The relationship is great. Our relationship is great. Everything is going fine. We are just worried that it's been 4 weeks yesterday and we still did not hear from them.
Right. No, what I mean is, do you have a lease? Do you have a house? What's the situation?
We have a lease together. We are doing everything together. We have a bank account together, everything.
Which you use and everything?
Everything, the insurance.
And so the I-130, has the I-130 been approved or that's also, both are still pending?
Yeah, both are still pending.
Okay. Well, I think the next thing is they're going to come to your house. I think probably the interview was April 25th and now so it was a month ago.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think they might be racially profiling you because you're from Sierra Leone, because you're from West Africa, and they get a lot of problems with immigration fraud from West Africa. So I think that might be what's going on. I mean, to me, your case sounds completely legit. Did they say anything about your first spouse passing away? Did that come up?
No, sir.
So in their mind, they might just be thinking, "Oh, I got to go get his visit visa stuff. I bet he lied when he got his visit visa. I bet he's got some shaky marriage. Maybe he didn't get validly divorced in Sierra Leone." And like, I would have made sure, if I were your lawyer, I would have made sure that they understood that this is not a West African divorce case. This is a widow case. And to me, that changes a lot of the potential problems for you, because we don't have to worry about, whether you properly divorce your spouse, or we don't have to worry about whether your marriage was going bad at the time you got your visit visa, right? You were just a guy who came back and forth to buy cars and bring them back to Sierra Leone. And you just ended up staying here because your wife passed away and there was really nothing back for you. Did you and your first spouse have any kids?
No, sir.
Yeah. So there really wasn't that much back for you back home. So to me, it would have been important to distinguish your case from the ones that they see so many of, where they're scratching their heads wondering whether you're validly divorced, whether you lied to get your visit visa, all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So I would say, your case hasn't been on file that long. It's only from December. You've only been married since September. So I would say to wait until the end of the year. If you don't have your green card, I mean, you have your work card, so you're good there. I think you're just sitting pretty. I think they're probably going to do a site visit at the house, probably come at like 5:30 in the morning one day just to see. But to me, your case sounds solid. Your case sounds solid to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jim. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Peace, brother. All right. That was Ahmed. Yeah, that was an interesting question. I haven't had that one about the kids bring their lunch or eat lunch at school. And of course, that's all this bullshit, because kids just change their mind at the last minute. Maybe on Tuesdays they like pizza day, or Thursdays they like hamburger day or Caesar salad day. So you never know what kids are doing for their lunch. That's sort of a silly question, but it is sort of a gotcha question. Speaking of school lunches, I only have about a week left of making school lunches because next year Nora's on her own. Haha. I make killer lunches. Her friends are jealous of the lunches that I make, but I'm sort of done with that. That's going to let me go to the gym earlier and get to work earlier. Haha. Too bad, Nornator. Need your services. Hello.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing?
Thanks. I'm all right. I'm good. Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm all right. So, I called I think 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I was telling you about my interview and how it went. So the CEO informed me that he was gonna send an intent to revoke to the USCIS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the issue then was my wife. Before I met her, she was married to someone who deceived her that he was single without kids and stuff. So she found out um, just before we met. We met, got married, you know, in Nigeria, and then she got the marriage annulled after we got married, and then she got the void certificate of marriage and all that. So at the interview, the CEO, I was on administrative processing for a couple of months, and when I had the second interview, the CEO was like, "Oh, you got married before your wife's last divorce was completed," and I was like, "No, that wasn't a divorce actually. The marriage was annulled." So he was saying it's a divorce. I said, "Oh well, we have the certificate of annulment because he still insisted that it's a divorce that we shouldn't have got married before that." So I spoke to you the last time. You were like, "Oh, okay, we can take it up, but you can't do anything until it's 3 months, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been waiting. It's almost 3 months. So
Okay.
and I just want to get started. So that's why
When
I'm
did,
calling you again.
yeah. When did USCIS approve the I-130?
The I-130 was approved March 2024.
Okay, so the State Department has had the case for a year,
Yes.
and you've already had your visa interview and been put in administrative processing.
Yes, I had the second interview as well.
Wow, that's pretty fast. Okay. Has anybody written a legal brief to the embassy to explain to them why this is an annulment and not a divorce, and therefore, since it was annulled? See, the tricky thing is the annulment happened after you married your spouse, right? After, or I should say after your spouse married you, right?
Yes.
So that confuses them because in their mind, obviously, if you get married and then you get divorced from your first spouse, then your marriage that's at issue in this case wasn't valid, right?
Yes.
So there's an outside argument. I'm not saying this is what you should do, but there's an outside argument that you should get married again to your spouse and start over. I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying that you might need us to do that lawsuit because they are treating your annulment as if it has no legal effect, and they're wondering if you were validly married. Did you say that they sent the case back to USCIS for a notice of intent to revoke, or you were worried about that?
The CEO already told me that he's going to send it back to me. So USCIS hasn't
He
gotten
said
back.
he's going to. He said he's going to. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he said he will send it back to USCIS, and then with the mailing USCIS, we even called USCIS, right? So they were like, "Well, if you got a certificate of annulment and the marriage was void," we went through the case, we checked it, approved it, and
Yeah, but
sent it to the
you can't
embassy.
rely on what they say. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say when did they tell you they were sending it back for possible revocation?
That was in March 19th.
So about 2 months ago.
Yes.
And when did your spouse file the original I-130?
She filed December 2022.
And where does your spouse in America? Where does your spouse live?
She lives in Kansas City.
Kansas City?
Yes.
Okay, so not far from me. Okay, well, I would say that we could do a lawsuit now. What they're probably going to do if we do a lot, we'd have to sue. If we did a lawsuit for you, we would sue the State Department and USCIS, so they can't play this game of who's got the file. You know, is it in the embassy? Is it in USCIS? The problem is the State Department hasn't had the case that long. I mean, I know to you it's a long time, but they might file a motion to dismiss, right? So you might want to wait a little bit longer, but if you're tired of waiting, we can go ahead and file a lawsuit. You just have to understand they might file a motion to dismiss, and if they file a motion to dismiss, the judge is probably going to agree with them and say, you just have to keep waiting.
Yeah, but the thing is, if a marriage is void, that means that marriage was non-existent, right?
Yeah. If it's void, then everything you're doing is legit. I understand that. But it's a big difference between saying, hey, this marriage was annulled. That's a big difference than proving to them that, I mean, like doing the research and like this case needs a legal brief. This case needs citations to case law and regulations that walks them through why you were eligible for an immigrant visa. Can I ask one more question before I let you go?
Yes, please.
So you said that her first marriage was to sort of a guy who was shady, and that's why she got the annulment, right? Like it wasn't legit. He was cheating on her or whatever. There was something about him that wasn't real, right?
Yes.
My question is, did that person apply for and or get any immigration benefits based on his marriage to your now wife?
No, she didn't file for him. As a matter of fact, before we even met, she was trying to get a work with USCIS sometimes. So they asked her if she was going to file for him. At the time, she said no, that she didn't want to file, that she,
Yeah.
That was when she had her suspicions. And then she filed for the annulment. He had a Zoom appearance, with the judge in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the marriage was annulled. And then, yeah.
That's a good question. Was it annulled in the United States?
Yes, it was annulled in the United States.
So they should that's bullshit. Okay, yeah, let us know if you want to sue. This is BS.
Yes, I do want to sue you. Last time you said I should wait for 3 months. I mean, I want to keep up to date. Let you know.
Send an email and say I was on with Jim at about the 50-minute mark on Saturday, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
All right.
Bye. All right. Got time for a couple more questions. Can you send a letter to a USCIS immigration officer after the interview and decisions not made after 1.5 months? Yes, you can, which is why it's important to write down the name of your officer. Always write down the name of the officer. They're getting sneakier about that. They're not putting their names on the interview results notices. So always make sure, that'd be a good TikTok. Always make sure to get the name of the officer who's interviewing you. Same deal as if ICE comes to your house. Make sure that you get their names too. Kentisha, I will take you next, but you got to get off camera. Somebody asked about if you expunge your record, does immigration not find out about it? No, they do find out about it. That's not something you should count on. So don't do that. Kentisha, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jim, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I just have a couple really quick questions. So for starters, I just wanted to know, are they still approving green cards from Gambia? My husband is Gambian. He has a Gambian passport, but our case is through Dakar, Senegal.
So has he had his interview?
No, sir. That was something else I was going to get to as well. So we got our I-130 approved, and we were documentarily approved or qualified. Yeah, qualified.
Mm-hmm.
In January or February of this year. We haven't heard much from them, so I sent NVC an email basically saying like, hey, is there anything else I can send to you guys? Like, are you missing something? Really just to ask them like, hey, what's up? And so they said that everything is in good standings and that we're just pretty much waiting for an interview.
So again, tell me the date that they got documented qualified.
It was January or February as a matter of fact, it was December. It was December of 2024. December 2024, and then we finished all of the paperwork and sent in the rest of the money by like January, I think, or like early February or something like that.
Okay. So are you on any like chat boards or Facebook groups with other people waiting for their spouse to come from Gambia?
Not many. I don't really be on social media like that, just like a whole lot. But I mean, a lot of stuff do pop up on my timeline a lot, and of course you pop up on there a lot too. So
what I'm trying to figure out is, because I don't keep track on a country by country basis, like how long the time is between DQ and interview. But I would imagine with Gambia it's probably 8 or 9 months, so I think you still have a while to go. But in the meantime, I would start paying attention. I would look on Reddit or other places. You can look in Immigrant Home. You can put a post in our Facebook group called Immigrant Home and say, hey, I got documented qualified from Gambia. I would try to get the exact date and then put that in there, and then people will tell you what they've been seeing in Gambia.
Okay, cool. And then also, so there's this tool on the NVC website. It's an IV tool. And so I was wondering, like, have you heard of that? And is it valid?
It is not valid. They just make shit up. And Nurse Laura said Visa Journey.
I thought so.
Visa Journey is another good website, Laura said, to check for, processing times from individual countries.
Visa Journey. Okay, let me write that down right quick. Okay. Yeah. I'm just scared, with this administration. I'm just being straight up and honest with you. Yeah. And I don't want us to have waited all of this time, because it's going on like 2 years now. And just with the whole entire process and me going back and forth, and it's just a lot right now, and I just want to be with my husband. I want my husband to be here with me, so is there any way that we can actually speed up the process in any way?
Nope. I think you're just chilling. And I think you're really close. So it's just a matter of waiting now.
Okay. All right. You said it was Visa Journey?
Visa Journey. Yeah. We had 2 votes on that for them.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, okay, Jim. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Bye, Kantisha. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too.
All right, everybody. That'll do it for today's show. I'm going to have lunch with my sister, and then I'm going to softball. How about that? What do you think about that? Oh, we watched a good movie last night called Black Bag. It's Steven Soderbergh, so it's a little slower. It's not like Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible, but it is a spy story, and it's mostly a character study. And it has Michael Fassbender. Do you guys know who that is? And Kate Blanchett. She's really good. She's always good. She can play anybody. And it's so weird because it's Kate Blanchett, but it doesn't seem like Kate Blanchett. So it's a fun little show. I think it's on Apple. It's a movie. So check it out. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Get some good barbecue. Bye, Ms. Donna. Hope you're feeling better. Hi, Lizzie. And everybody else, adios. I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of need.